Before diving into this incredible story, consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell. Every story here has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. Incognito owner saw a waitress help his sick daughter and changed his life. In the sleepy town of Willow Creek, Incognito wasn't just a restaurant. It was a local institution. Nestled in the heart of Main Street, with its red brick storefront and large windows overlooking the cobblestone sidewalks, Incognito welcomed a diverse crowd every day. Couples celebrating anniversaries, retirees sharing stories at the counter, students looking for a quiet corner to study. The restaurant exuded a warm and intimate atmosphere, like a refuge from the hustle and bustle of the outside world. The decor blended rustic and modern, weathered wooden tables, pendant lamps with soft shades, and local artwork adorning the walls. Each dish served was carefully prepared by the chef, showcasing fresh ingredients and family recipes passed down through generations. Over the years, Incognito had forged deep ties with the community. The servers knew the preferences of regular customers. Some felt almost at home. It was a place where life's stories intertwined, where joys, sorrows, and dreams were recounted in silence between bites. At the center of this microcosm was 27-year-old Emily Harper, one of the restaurant's most discreet but essential figures. For nearly 2 years, she had worked there as a server, juggling her job with her part-time studies in hospitality management with astonishing grace. Emily was no mere employee. She was a reassuring presence, ever attentive, always ready to offer a smile or a kind word, even on the toughest days. Emily's life was anything but a fairy tale. The only child of a single mother, Linda Harper, she had grown up with responsibility on her shoulders long before she was an adult. Linda suffered from a chronic illness, one that weakened her day by day, often confining her to bed, unable to work or even take care of daily tasks. From a young age, Emily had taken on the role of primary support for her mother. She shopped, cooked meals, cleaned, and made sure Linda had everything she needed. But beyond these overwhelming responsibilities, Emily retained a spark of hope and resilience. She drew strength from the deep love she felt for her mother and her determination to build a better future. Every morning, she put on her uniform, brushed her hair, and showed up at Incognito ready to face the day, even though fatigue weighed on her shoulders. What impressed her colleagues and customers most was her smile, always sincere, always bright. A smile that seemed to say, no matter the difficulties, life goes on. For Emily, serving others wasn't just a job. It was a way to share a little human warmth in a sometimes cold and harsh world. One autumn evening, the golden light of dusk bathed Willow Creek in a melancholic softness. Red, orange, and yellow leaves swirled in a light breeze that filtered through the alleys, bringing with it the characteristic freshness of winter evenings. Incognito, true to form, glowed softly under its hanging lamps, welcoming its customers into a warm, subdued atmosphere. That evening, a family entered the restaurant. The man with them, Mark Sullivan, was no stranger to Incognito. Having owned the place for over 10 years, Mark was a man in his 50s, with a steady gaze and a calm demeanor. Known in the town for his strong sense of justice and his deep commitment to the local community, he was well-liked, but remained humble, preferring discretion to the spotlight. Since his wife's death a few years earlier, Mark had been living alone with his 6-year-old daughter, Sophie, who was in fragile health. Sophie suffered from a rare disease affecting her immune system, making every public outing a challenge, often punctuated by mild asthma attacks that terrified her father. That evening, Mark had been scheduled to come to Incognito for an important business dinner, an obligation he couldn't avoid despite his concern for his daughter. Sophie, sitting beside him, looked silent and tired, her small face framed by blonde curls betraying her weakened state. As Emily Harper approached to take their order, she immediately noticed the tension in the air. Mark's hands trembled slightly as he gently stroked Sophie's hair. But what caught her attention most was the girl's worried gaze, her eyes wide and misty with tears, as if she were holding back some invisible pain. Emily paused for a moment, casting a sympathetic look at Sophie. "Mr. Sullivan, are you all right?" she asked softly, without a hint of doubt in her voice. Mark looked away, embarrassed. "I'm fine, thanks, just a little tired." But the silence was abruptly interrupted by a sharp, dry cough from Sophie. The little girl coughed until she choked, tears rolling down her cheeks, her small body shaking with the effort. Mark immediately leaned forward, his face etched with panic, desperately searching for something to help his daughter. Without hesitation, Emily quickly turned away and headed toward the counter where, discreetly placed, was a small blue inhaler, a gift a doctor client had given her a few weeks earlier, insisting she always keep a first aid kit handy. She returned to Sophie's side, kneeling gently so as not to frighten her. In a soft, confident voice, she calmly explained to the girl how to use the inhaler. "Breathe deeply, Sophie. I'm here, everything will be fine." Gradually, the cough faded, Sophie's breathing steadied, and the tears stopped flowing. Calm returned to her fragile face, and a spark of relief lit up Mark's eyes. He looked up at Emily, his throat tight with emotion. "I don't know how to thank you," he whispered, his voice trembling. Emily gave him a shy smile, her cheeks slightly flushed. "It's nothing, Mr. Sullivan. I know what it's like to worry about someone you love." This seemingly simple gesture was more than just a momentary relief. For Mark, it revealed an unsuspected side of Emily, an inner strength and rare compassion, previously veiled by her humble role as a waitress. That evening, in that room bathed in soft lamplight, a new relationship was born, based on respect and mutual recognition, poised to transform everyone's lives. A few weeks after that pivotal evening, Mark Sullivan asked Emily to join him in the private office he'd set up in the back of Incognito. It was a modest but cozy space where he conducted business away from the hustle and bustle of the restaurant. When Emily walked in, she immediately sensed the gravity of the moment. This wasn't just a casual conversation. Mark looked at her intently, his serious gaze softened by genuine kindness. "Emily," he began, "I want you to know how impressed I was by your strength and dedication. What you do for your mother, while continuing your studies and working here, is exceptional." He then took an envelope out of his drawer, handing it to her with a smile. "I'd like to offer you a full scholarship, so you can finally finish your college degree without having to worry about the costs." Emily felt her heart race, surprised and overwhelmed with emotion. A scholarship? It was more than she dared hope for. Her fingers trembled slightly as she took the envelope, tears beginning to well up in the corners of her eyes. But Mark didn't stop there. "And that's not all," he added, leaning against the desk. "I'd also like to offer you a management position here at Incognito, with a salary that I hope will allow you to take care of your mother without financial stress. You know the restaurant, the customers, and most importantly, you have a knack for bringing people together. I think you could really make a difference." Emily's breath caught for a moment. This offer represented a radical transformation in her life, an opportunity she could never have imagined. She thought of Linda, her mother, of all those nights of worry, the doctor's visits, the bills piling up. And now, a light of hope finally lit their horizon. She looked down, then up, her eyes shining. "Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I don't know what to say. This is more than I could ever have hoped for. I promise to give it my all, so as not to disappoint you." Mark smiled, visibly moved too. "I don't doubt it for a second, Emily." In the months that followed, Emily threw herself into her new role. She brought new energy to Incognito, infusing innovative ideas and a breath of fresh air while respecting the restaurant's warm and welcoming spirit. She established regular events, including charity evenings dedicated to families whose children suffered from chronic illnesses. These gatherings quickly became important events in the city, creating a true network of support and solidarity. Under her leadership, Incognito became more than a restaurant, a place of gathering, mutual support, and hope. Emily, now a respected manager, successfully juggled her studies, work, and family responsibilities, finally relieved of the financial burden that had long weighed her down. Mark and Emily developed a relationship of trust and mutual respect, built on shared values. Over time, their professional collaboration blossomed into a deep friendship, a strong partnership that extended beyond work. They now shared the same vision: to make Incognito a pillar of the community, a haven of compassion and generosity. This story, that of Emily Harper, the quiet waitress turned manager, is proof that sometimes the smallest acts of compassion can change an entire life. Through her courage and kindness, Emily opened doors she thought were closed forever. And Mark Sullivan, by recognizing and supporting the potential of a humble but determined young woman, demonstrated that true success lies not only in material success, but in the ability to help others grow.